Yasoda Nandana Bhajarana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Jamuna Tira Nachari Jamuna Tira Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Hari Jaya Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Prabhupada Jaya, Prabhupada Jaya. Rajagacharya, Sisvade, Bhaktivedanta Sanskrit Papa Ki Jai, Namachahara Star Ki Jai. Prem Sagaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Gadadhar Sri Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopa Shama Kunda Radha Kadigiri Govardhan Ki Jai. Sri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Navadip Dham Ki Jai, Ganga Chumana Tulsi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Go Premanandi. All glories to some of the devotees, all glories to some of the devotees, all glories to some of the devotees, all glories to Sri Gun Sri Gang, all glories to Sri Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Buddha Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prachadane Nirvasesha Shanyavadi Paschatya Deshatadane Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 10, Chapter 14, Verse 7. Gunavandas tepi gunanti matum Hitavatirnasya ka ishiresya Kalena yairava vimatasu kalpaya Bhupam savake mihika jubasha Guna Atmana, of the possessor of all superior qualities. Te, you, api, certainly, gunan, the qualities, the matum, to count, hita avatirnasya, who have descended for the benefit of all living entities. Ke, who, ishire, are able, asya, of the universe, kalena, in due course of time, yai, by whom, Va, or Vimata, counted Sukopai by great scientists. Bhupamsava, atoms of an earthly planet. K, in the sky. Mihika, particles of snow. Dubasha, illumination of stars and planets. Translation: in time, learned philosophers or scientists may be able to count all the atoms of the earth, particles of snow, or perhaps even the shining molecules radiating from the sun, the stars, and other luminaries. But among these learned men, who could possibly count the unlimited transcendental qualities possessed by you, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who have descended on the surface of the earth for the benefit of all living entities? Prabhupada Srila Sanatana Goswami explains that Lord Krishna is Gun Atma, the soul of all superior qualities, because he gives them life. For example, one may discuss in an abstract way such qualities as generosity, intelligence, mercy, but they come to life only when a living person exhibits them. Thus, Lord Krishna is Gun Atma because he descends to the material world and reestablishes religious principles by exhibiting all godly qualities himself and inspiring them in others. A living entity who develops the transcendental qualities found in the Lord receives immeasurable benefit and eventually goes with the Lord back to his own abode, where all living beings are liberated and fully endowed with the transcendental nature. Srila Sanatana Goswami further explains that the Lord manifests a specific spiritual quality for the benefit of each living entity. Since there are innumerable living entities within the confines of the material creation, the Lord manifests infinite qualities. Thus, every conditioned soul can appreciate the Supreme Lord in a particular way. The example is given here that even if the most learned scholars could someday count the particles of earth, snow, and light, they would still fail to understand the qualities of the Lord. In this example, earth, snow, and light are progressively more subtle. Thus, it is to be understood that there is an increasing difficulty in counting their virtually infinite particles. According to Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, great personalities like Lord Sankarshan actually have counted the number of atoms on the earth and even the molecules of the entire universe. Yet even such a personality as Sankarshan, who has been continuously chanting the glories of the Lord since time immemorial, has not even approached a final count of those glories. Lord Krishna exhibits his most astonishing qualities during his childhood pastimes in Vrindavan, where he steals butter from the cowherd ladies, dances with his girlfriends, and plays with his cowherd boyfriends as his most dear companion, as their most dear companion. Although appearing like ordinary human activities, such sublime pastimes embody Lord Krishna's immeasurable and innumerable, beautiful, transcendental qualities, which are the life and soul of pure devotees. So, Brahma's explained the difference between the Supreme Lord and his manifestation of the Brahman, the impersonal aspect. So here the contrast is made by showing how the Lord has so many qualities that are ever fresh and ever appearing, so that no one is able to ever enumerate them all or count them all. Now the example here is given of the material world, where we have things which are difficult to count. Of course they are finite in a sense, but difficult to count. So we cannot count the particles of dust or the particles of snow or the particles of sunlight, etc., because there's so many. And of course we could always say that ultimately the smallest particles are the atoms, and no one can count the atoms. We could maybe estimate how many atoms are in the universe through science, etc., but still no one could ever actually physically enumerate everything there. Why? Because the numbers are very big and the human capacity is limited. But, of course, the material world itself is limited. It does have a limit to it, but we are unable to actually count or enumerate those particles. We have a certain capacity only. The Lord, however, is different from that even. So that is why it said, even if a person could count all the particles in the universe, which is rather impossible to do, but it's conceivable because there is a limit, still, it's nothing compared to the Lord and his qualities. And the reason, of course, is not that the Lord has more qualities, but actually they're always increasing. Matter is stuck, it doesn't increase. Prakriti is Prakriti, and it doesn't increase or decrease or anything, it's always Prakriti. But the Lord manifests qualities after qualities after qualities at each moment in relation to his activities with his devotees. And they're always slightly different. Of course, they may be similar, so in that sense we can enumerate qualities. And thus, in the Nectar of Devotion, Rupa Goswami enumerates 64 qualities that are possible in God. But that's not a limit on the qualities, that's only a general indication of qualities. So, for instance, Krishna's special qualities are 4. His sweet form, his sweet flute, his sweet devotees, and sweet activities. But obviously he's got more qualities than that which are sweet. So, therefore, it's only a general indication when we say 64, in comparison to Jivas which have 50, or Shiva that has 55 or whatever like that, or Vishnu that has 60. So only for comparison's sake we make an enumeration. But actually, uncountable. We can never enumerate all the wonderful qualities of the Supreme Lord because they're always manifesting in different ways, in surprising ways. How is it possible? It's possible because the Lord himself is infinite. He is Vibhu. He is everywhere. And every aspect of him is also similar to that, expansive and everywhere. And he has his achintya shakti, his inconceivable energy by which anything is possible. So, the nature of Krishna's qualities, as is mentioned in the purport, is because of devotees. Through the relationship with a devotee, the qualities of the Lord become manifest in a certain way. So because, and of course this manifests through pastimes, a relationship with a devotee and the Lord that manifests in a type of lila. And in that pastime, there are activities of the Lord, there are activities of the devotee, which may consist of bodily activities, or words, or thoughts, etc., or gestures. So all of these, on the part of the devotee and the Supreme Lord, will manifest different aspects of the Supreme Lord, different qualities of the Supreme Lord. And as we know, the activities and the relationship is always fresh, which means it's always new. It's always a new quality. Whatever was experienced yesterday is not experienced today. Something more wonderful is experienced today. So therefore, the qualities that may manifest are different each time. And that goes for each devotee. Each devotee is an individual, and he experiences something in Krishna that nobody else experiences. So in this way, we have all the different jivas in the spiritual world experiencing Krishna in multiple ways at all times. And Krishna is always manifesting different qualities. But we can, of course, generalize and say, okay, Krishna is merciful, or Krishna is generous, or Krishna is clever. But the cleverness will manifest in different ways at all times, or the mercy will manifest in different ways at all times for the different devotees in different shades, just like we have a color. But the color can manifest in an infinite number of shades. So we have a red color, but the red can be a slightly darker, a slightly lighter, a little on the purple side, a little on the orange side. There's so many different ways, and we can always keep increasing it. Of course, it's finite in one sense because it's material. But with Krishna and his devotees, which are in the spiritual world, can always be new. New activities and new responses to activities give rise to more and more wonderful qualities. So those qualities may be expressed in terms of the personality of Krishna, which are very wonderful, or they may just be manifest in relation to the form of Krishna, his body. So yes, we know Krishna is bluish in color, and he has a peacock feather, and he wears a yellow cloth, and has his buffalo horn, etc. But these will also manifest in newer and newer ways. They become more and more beautiful, more and more attractive. So the color of Krishna is a bluish, dark bluish color, but it's not a material color. So we have a limit to the material color, dark blue, but we don't have a limit to Krishna's color. It's not material at all. It's quite different. And it gives rise to a new experience each time. And this is so for each aspect of just the form of Krishna. And the form of Krishna itself has so many aspects which are infinite. So we give a general description of Krishna. He has a yellow dhoti, he has a chadar, he has a gunja necklace, he has a peacock feather, he has flower earrings, he has anklets on his feet, etc. He has a flute, he has a buffalo horn, he has a belt, etc. It's general. But then there are all sorts of other little details there that are constantly attractive to the devotees. Of course, sometimes in the poetic works of the Goswamis, then we'll see that they describe some of the details and how attractive they are. So they'll describe the belt, or the flute, or the buffalo horn, or the color, etc. And they'll expand on that to some degree to give us an idea of the potency of each detail of the form of Krishna. So that's the form of Krishna. And of course, each day Krishna dresses a little differently, not the same every day, and he has different ornaments every day. And he goes to the forest and he has different decorations every day. So again, there's change in that way. And that's the form of Krishna. And then we have his gestures, his glance and his smile. So these also vary with his mood, vary with the devotee he's looking at, etc. So when Krishna glances at a cowherd boy, it is different from his glance at Mother Yasoda, which is different than glancing at the gopis. So his gestures and his smile are all different with each devotee. And then if he speaks, obviously there's so much variety in the speech that the variety of words is there. What he speaks, the variety of the words, the combination of the words, the tone of the words, all infinite variety is there. Even in the material world, we cannot enumerate all the expressions and all the words that people say. It's very difficult to do. But in spiritual worlds, more spectacular. And of course, the wonderful aspect is that all of the words and expressions and sentences are most attractive and spiritual. And they're always ever fresh, always new. So what the scriptures give us is a general description of things, and it's not like it's fixed and it's always exactly the same. And whatever Krishna does or says or looks like, it's not exactly the same all the time. This is only a general indication. And in the spiritual world, these things are never static. They're never frozen at all. They're always ever fresh, always keep changing, always keep expressing more and more beauty and bliss. So how is it possible to count the qualities of Krishna, the aspects of his form, the quality of his voice, the quality of his words, etc., the quality of his activities, the quality of his feelings? It's impossible to do so because it's always changing and increasing at all times. So in that sense, this verse is spoken by Brahma. So this is a very good appreciation, because on a most basic level, it indicates the great difference between Brahman, which was the subject of the previous verse, and the present idea of Krishna, who's full of all wonderful qualities. So the form of Bhagavan is very distinct from the Brahman, because we have these qualities. So what is the use of having so many qualities? The use is that these qualities are attractive for the devotees. Brahman has no qualities, so what is the attraction? There can be no attraction for something with no qualities. So the Supreme Lord is Krishna. He's all attractive because he has all these wonderful qualities. And of course, qualities also means form, activities, etc. The Brahman has no qualities, no form, no activities, no speech, nothing. So where's the attractive nature of it? So in comparison to that, Bhagavan has an infinite number of qualities. When we say qualities here, Krishna's Gunatma, it doesn't mean bad qualities, it obviously means good qualities, attractive qualities. And these qualities are full of life. They have a very attractive nature to them at all times. So therefore, the comparison with material qualities is actually useless, because material qualities are only aspects of matter, part of Prakriti, arising from gunas of the material world, which are inert. Qualities of Krishna arise from his Chit Shakti, his Sarup Shakti. Quite different. There's a little comparison, of course, because we say blue, and we have a material blue, and we have Krishna blue. But like that, we can have a comparison. We have mercy in the material world, sattva gun mercy or whatever, and we have mercy of Krishna. So we can use words in that way to give some sort of idea, but actually quite different. These are completely dead. The qualities and things of the material world are completely lifeless. And the only reason they do look attractive is because of Maya. Illusion causes the qualities in material things which are actually dead to be attractive, but actually it's lifeless. How can it be attractive? Just like nobody's attracted to a dead body. But yet we're attracted to all things in the material world actually dead. Everything is matter. The bodies are matter, the forms are matter, everything, the qualities are matter, everything is dead actually. But it becomes attractive because there is life force in there. And when it's alive, then it's more attractive. When it's gone, it's dead. So, in the spiritual world, of course, Krishna's qualities are non-different from his very self. There's no difference between the body and the self there, where the body in the material world is actually dead matter with its qualities. And it gets a little attraction because the Atma is there. So, the qualities and the form of the Lord and the essence of the Lord himself are non-different. Qualities are equal to the Lord himself. So, quite different. So in that sense, he gives life to all the qualities. He is the personification of all the qualities. He is all the qualities because they're non-different from him. So therefore they become very attractive. But they become attractive to a certain type of jiva. Some jivas are not attracted to those qualities at all. So we have the Bahirmukha Jiva. He is not attracted to spiritual qualities. He cannot appreciate them at all. He is attracted to the material qualities because he is covered by Maya. And then we have the Brahmavadi. He is not attracted to those qualities also. So though he strives with great difficulty to get realization of Brahman, his realization is completely devoid of the qualities of the Lord arising from his Sarup Shakti. So as I mentioned previously, Brahman realization is the Lord minus all of his Shaktis. Therefore, it is, what kind of attraction is there? Very difficult to have attraction for that at all. And of course, ultimately, there is no attraction for anything. It's only existence. We don't have an attraction for anything because we don't observe anything. There is no duality. It's just existence and no perception of any particular thing. So we can say it is spiritual existence without any perception, any activity at all. It's simply spiritual awareness. Or we can say awareness of the self, uninfluenced by ahankara, etc., material identification. We have awareness in the material world, but it is subject to the material coverings, upadhis. Take all that away, we have awareness. The jiva, without his material awareness. Therefore, he's not aware of a body, he's not identifying with a body, and he's not aware of anything in the material world at all. That's the jiva and Brahman situation. So that is quite different from when a jiva becoming aware of the Supreme Lord here, with all these wonderful qualities. So the person who attains this Brahman realization, what's the difference in this person? Why he gets that realization? Because that's his desire. He desires that type of goal. So the Lord gives him that goal. Just as if we want material enjoyment, the Lord also gives us the material enjoyment. If we want the Brahman aspect of the Lord, that is what the Lord reveals, his Brahman aspect only. So, by certain sadhana, the Lord fulfills the desire of the jiva with that type of realization. The devotee will appreciate the Lord, and he will not be attracted to the Brahman aspect. How is that possible? Why is he different? And as I mentioned the other day, it is because of association, mercy of devotees. He develops a higher taste, a taste for the qualities of the Supreme Lord, which are spiritual, not material. So, to get that mercy also is rare. As I mentioned, generally people in Sattva Gun will tend towards impersonal conclusion. It's natural because Sattva Gun gives rise to jnana. I am Atma, I am not the body, I am something beyond the material body. So therefore people in Sattva Gun will become attracted to that aspect, the Brahman aspect. So we have, Kapila Dev describes bhakti in the mode of goodness. Bhakti in the mode of goodness, what's the desire? Liberation. Is bhakti there, but it's desire for liberation. Worship the Lord to get liberation. So, in that sense, the impersonalist who worships the Lord to get liberation achieves liberation, but it is this type of thing without any particular qualities, etc. So, to go beyond Sattva Gun requires mercy of devotees, to appreciate the form of the Lord with his wonderful qualities and understand that they're not material. That is a big step to make beyond Sattva Gun. So that requires the mercy of devotees. So the praise for the Lord's infinite number of wonderful qualities here is to indicate that Supreme Lord is all attractive. for the jiva. And this makes the process easier. If we have an attractive object, it is easy to approach. If we don't have an attractive object, how can we become attracted to it and attain it? How we attain the goal of Brahman if it is nothing, there's no qualities in it at all? Very difficult. Krishna has all wonderful qualities, so it becomes easier to attain because it is attractive. So, the qualities of Bhagavan are infinite, but as Rupa Goswami indicates in Nectar Devotion, Vishnu will manifest 60 qualities and Krishna will manifest 64 qualities. So the different forms of the Lord will manifest different amounts of infinite qualities. And Krishna manifests the most wonderful qualities of all. So Brahma had realized Vishnu, and then he realizes Vrindavan Krishna also. So he also understood this, that there's something very special about the qualities of Krishna that even Vishnu doesn't manifest. So in that sense, although all forms of the Lord have infinite number of wonderful qualities, the form of Krishna is the highest in that regard. And therefore Krishna is put in a very special position. He is called Swayam Bhagavan for that reason, because his manifestation of qualities is more, greater than any other form. So then ultimately this description of all the wonderful qualities ultimately applies to Krishna. He has the most wonderful qualities, that, even qualities that other forms don't manifest.
Those who go to this Brahman, although you were explaining that they are not aware of anything about the body, okay, but do they aware of presence of the other soul?
There's no object of awareness. It's oneness.
So he has only one awareness that he is alone. He's
no,
alone.
You're not even alone. You just exist.
But his existence is there, you know.
That's it.
But and also
you don't think, well, I'm all here by myself, because when you say I'm here by myself, you're locating yourself in a certain position with something else.
But he experienced, this
existence,
some happiness, that he is free from this kind of suffering, that birth, that old age disease. He experienced this, correct?
Well, that's we can say from externally we can analyze him and say he has no experience of birth and death. But when he's in that state, he's not thinking, oh, I am free from birth and death and old age and disease, because if he's doing that, he's dualistic and he's aware of a material world then. So that's dualism again. So in that state, he is simply, samadhi state is simply existence. That's all it is.
It's like one kind of sleeping, during sleeping.
Like a big sleep, yeah.
Deep sleep.
But see, in our deep sleep, there's a little problem there, because in comparison to our waking state, it seems to be like a unaware state, where awareness in one sense, but it's not like the awareness in the active state of a waking state. There's a type of awareness there, but it seems to be a little covered over. But in the samadhi state, it's different from sleep, obviously, because if, in other words, everyone would say, I'll just go to sleep and I'll have a blissful state. But that state of Brahman is blissful state in one sense. It's not like the sleep state, which is in ignorance.
No, if you say the deep sleep,
still ignorance.
When someone is deep sleep, is completely dead, we can say.
Almost, yeah. But the jiva is there, and he still has awareness, but it's rather limited. That's all.
His awareness is there, but he doesn't know that he is, he exists, something like that, because he's in deep sleep.
Yeah. So there is awareness. One is self-aware in the state of Brahman. We realize our existence in that state, and after we come out of that state, we still remember it. If we're in a deep sleep state, more somebody come out of it, we don't even remember it.
The question, in the purport, that there is a mention that about the Lord Ananta Balaram, he also not able to count the glories of the Supreme Lord. We see Lord Balaram is not different from the Krishna. Lord Balaram is not different from Krishna. Both the same.
Yeah.
in one
Yeah,
sense.
the forms of the Lord are none different, obviously. But for pastimes, the Lord accepts different forms of different avatars, etc. And in doing so, they accept limitation on their qualities also. Ultimately, they're not limited because they're all one. But in that particular form, they identify themselves with a certain aspect and they limit themselves. So, Balaram or any form, they limit themselves to some degree because of their particular role they're playing. So that's why we say that Vishnu manifests 60 qualities and Krishna has 64. Ultimately, they're the same entity. So Vishnu, we can say, has 64 qualities, but he doesn't manifest those qualities in that particular form.
Because if Krishna doesn't manifest 4 more qualities, then there will not be any difference and superiority that Krishna is the highest. Krishna is the highest among all the forms of the Supreme Lord. If Krishna doesn't manifest the 4 qualities, extra qualities, then there will not be any differences between the form of the Supreme Lord.
Well, there would still be differences. We have Nrsimhadev and we have Rama, we have Vamana, and they all have different degrees of manifestation of qualities. Again, some manifest more, some
These 4
manifest
extra
less.
qualities.
Huh?
4 extra qualities. Even these 60 qualities Vishnu also have. Even the same 60 qualities Nrsimha also might have same quality. Okay, but these 4 qualities exclusively for Krishna, no one else.
Well, they have the sweetness is manifest in other forms as well, but it's very limited. If they didn't have any sweetness, then it would be rather dry. So they may manifest sweetness of a form because they're all beautiful, but it's not manifested to the same degree. That's all.
Ramchandra is dealing with his parents. There also some kind of sweetness is there.
Yeah.
The Vasulya Rasa is there.
Yeah.
But Madhurya Rasa is very, very, very less. Ramchandra.
Yeah. But it is there with Sita.
Yeah, with Sita.
Yeah. So there's some aspect of sweetness, we can say. But of course, it's always mixed with reverence. But there's some there. It's not completely devoid.
One more thing, this like in Braja pastime, that gopis control the Krishna, but in Rama's pastime, Rama control the Sita. This is some of the differences.
Yeah, each form has its particular qualities that will manifest at certain times. Of course, when Krishna is in Dwarka, then he manifests differently than he is in Vrindavan also.
It's because of that is Swakiya Rasa? Swakiya Rasa?
Not just Swakya. Yes, he can have Swakya and Vrindavan also, but his mood is slightly different in Dwarka. It's mixed with Aishwarya also.
You said Krishna's qualities is ever increasing. Is it proper to understand that Krishna himself does not know the limit of his qualities?
In one sense, we can say, because he's all-knowing, we can say he knows everything. But in another sense, because it's ever increasing, in that sense, we can say he doesn't know either. But ultimately, because he is Supreme Lord, he does know. But it's something like a Chincha Beda Bade. He knows and doesn't know, because he's surprised by his own qualities, even like that.
And also it's mentioned that Sankarshana has countered. How do you understand, Maharaj? Sankarshana has countered this particle, this and that. It's mentioned in the purport. Sankarshana has countered the particles of these earthly atoms, this and that.
Well, in a sense, so we can say Paramatma knows all the qualities and everything in the universe because he's all-pervading everywhere. So Supreme Lord does know everything in one sense, but at the same time, that's the material world. It's limited, obviously, so the Lord must know everything in the material world. As Shankarshan, as Paramatma, or whatever, he must know everything. Well, he knows. He doesn't even have to count. He knows. There's no question of counting. The Lord knows everything, so therefore he must know the number of particles of everything and the number of activities and the thoughts of everybody in the material world, obviously. It's no effort for him at all as Supreme Lord, because he's all-pervading.
But again, the attributes are due to the devotees. All these qualities, the attributes are due to the devotees. So can we attribute it to the devotees? The qualities that Krishna manifests due to the devotees, due to the devotees, Maharaj. If the devotees are not there, these qualities cannot attribute.
Well, Yeah, the qualities manifest in relation to the devotees, because the devotees have a relationship with the Lord, and they will appreciate certain qualities in the Lord. The Lord responds to the devotee, and that manifests certain qualities, and the devotee appreciates that, and then he expresses his love in a certain way, and the Lord responds to that, and then we have another manifestation of qualities again. So there's a reciprocal manifestation of qualities through rasa. And rasa is the essence of the Lord. Ananda and rasa are the Lord's essence. So therefore the Lord is always with devotees. And qualities are always manifesting because of that.
Srimati Radharani makes preparations. She doesn't repeat the preparations she doesn't repeat the preparations at all. It's unlimited.
Yeah, of course they could be the general forms or like this or that, and they enumerate them in the different works, what she makes, but obviously they're different each time. Because the very nature of the spiritual world is you don't have to endeavor, and by your desire you can manifest things. So then she can manifest new qualities and new tastes automatically every day. Ultimately, why is the taste manifest? To please Krishna. So it's all for the pleasure of Krishna.
Maharaj, here Prabhupada says every conditioned soul can appreciate the Supreme Lord in a particular way. So does it mean even if a person is not a devotee, he can appreciate the Lord?
Well, obviously, no, he doesn't. If he's not a devotee, he's bahirmukha. He doesn't appreciate the Lord. He sees only material qualities. He can appreciate the material world, which is an aspect of the Lord, but that's the way he appreciates the Lord. Or he appreciates the Lord as death and fear. That's another way you can appreciate the Lord. But otherwise, it's the external energy that he sees only. Well, it's external, but it's indirect. It's indirect. It's not the Supreme Lord.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. As long as the soul is in the material world and he has not reached the Brahman platform, I wanted to know how we can differentiate between the soul and the mind. When he has gone to the Brahman platform, then he is free from the mind. But as long as the soul is in the material world, he is with the mind always. Because even when he changes the body, the mind travels along with the soul as the carrier of the soul. So how can we differentiate between the soul and the mind?
Well, normally we can't. No, and nobody's much interested in doing so anyway in the material world. As for devotees, it also doesn't matter too much because the process of bhakti too is engage everything in the service of the Lord. So we engage the mind, we engage the senses, and we engage the Atma simultaneously in serving the Lord. And that produces bhakti. So we don't really have to differentiate one from the other. Is my mind working now, or is it my Atma working now? In all cases, the Atma is working and the mind is working anyway, but we don't have to differentiate them. However, we can make a distinction by understanding the operations of the mind, because all of our various emotions and our disturbances of the process of bhakti are caused by the mind. So all these anarthas, etc., belong to the subtle body. So all the difficulties we experience, they are actually aspects of the subtle body influencing us, which is material, of course.
Maharaj, in yesterday's class it was discussed that how it is important to choose a particular form of the Supreme Lord in order to experience that condensed bliss. So do we have to make a choice between Gauranga and Krishna also, or it is the same?
No, we can't, because Gauranga is actually the same as Krishna. One is non-different from the other. And our principle is that we cannot worship one or the other. We have to worship both. So if we worship Lord Chaitanya, we have to worship Krishna also, because they're non-different. And that's Lord Chaitanya's instruction, of course, also, that you worship Krishna. So we can't separate them at all.
And what
one
about
is equal to the other.
And what about those four additional qualities which Krishna manifests? So we see that Gauranga also manifests those four qualities.
Well, he does not manifest sweetness because he is not Krishna. He is manifesting a covered form and acting like a normal human being, a devotee of the Lord. But his quality that he does manifest instead of sweetness is audarja, or generosity, mercy towards all the jivas. That's his prominent quality there.